of will be held at the site of the World Trade Center in New York, as well as the Pentagon and Pennsylvania by President Joe Biden and other former heads of states including Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and George W. Bush. As a result of this incident, the United States invaded Afghanistan and toppled the Taliban government, which is accused as the terrorist hub of Al-Qaeda. After 2 decades in Afghanistan, the U.S. withdrew its troops completely after the Taliban took over Kabul and key cities from the American-sponsored government. President Biden defended the withdrawal of troops as the best decision of the United States. Karijitu Seka, iAfrica News.
The United States remembers the September 11 attack on the World Trade Center that led to the death of thousands of Americans, including 2 Gambians. Now, elsewhere, online business is gaining momentum in Uganda thanks to the impact of the coronavirus global pandemic. The growing number of Ugandan customers go online to purchase goods as part of efforts to curb the spread of the virus in the country. Business challenges are now shifted from access to the high cost of internet and connectivity. Let's have more details of that in this report.
A busy day at the Chikubo online shop. Orders keep coming and goods dispatched. Traders here say the demand for products has gone up. According to figures from Chikubo Online, the platform recorded an increase in the number of users from 7,000 to about 15,000 in a space of 2 years.
We have noticed that because of the pandemic, which in a way encourages social distancing, cashless payments to curb the spread of coronavirus, we saw many more people joining Chikubo Online, joining our platform to shop and to stock up.
Chikubo Online deals in a wide range of products such as sugar, beverages and detergents, among others. This store serves about 15,000 customers a month. The owners here say cashless payments are increasingly becoming the mode of transaction for consumers who choose to stay away to reduce exposure to the COVID-19 virus. Digital analysts say Uganda has a huge potential to accelerate e-commerce trading.
E-commerce is the way to go. People have to save time, but at the same time reduce costs of operations.
But the biggest downside is high internet costs.
When you look at things like the new tax that we have, the excise duty that is there, that is increasing the cost of internet, that service providers will definitely have to pass on to the final consumer.
Ugandan lawmakers recently passed a bill introducing a 12% tax on internet data. But as the country businesses shift to online markets, digital analysts want the government to review the tax laws. Hopefully, this could ease the cost of doing business online.
And from the report there in Kampala, Uganda, on the growth of online business in the country, we come back home. Now, local furniture production has gained momentum in the Gambia over the past decade, with most furniture producers adopting contemporary designs to suit the demand of the local markets. The influx of imported furniture in this small West African country, mainly from Europe, is, however, worrying to some of the skilled specialists. On how the carpenters coping with business coupled with the COVID-19 pandemic, Usman Jata has more details of that in this report.
The Gambia's importation of furniture by dealers mainly from Europe has been a matter of concern for most local furniture producers who believe the trend is seriously affecting their businesses. Amadou Ba is a furniture designer in Churchillstown who says the business is dull due to the stiff competition with the imported ones.
Business furniture, you see, come then you get nanka. Why then they have disturbances at times? Because bagasi container in their order ni second hand too, we have to disturb.
We are managing the business, but we are faced with a challenge. The influx of imported second-hand furniture in the country is affecting us seriously. Most of the imported furniture are not timber. They are mostly chipboard. That is why they are of poor quality. Unlike the furniture we produce here, we use timber and quality leather to make furniture.
Despite the worry on the side of local furniture designers, There are dealers of imported furniture who believe that the competition is normal as in any given business. In Churchillstown, I caught up with Ismail Akoli, a dealer of imported furniture. I can say the furniture business is not going as expected because most people are struggling to earn money. Business goes with money. If there is money, business goes fine. I think the pandemic is the backbone of this problem because cash is not flowing as expected. Prior to the pandemic, business was booming. People were never afraid of spending money, but now it's the opposite. Several data revealed that the Gambia's import is more than its export shares. The United Nations International Trade Statistics data revealed in 2019 that the Gambia's importation is worth $1.61 billion, making it the 163 trade destinations in the world. During the last 5 years, the imports of the country changed by $368 million from $1.24 billion in 2014 to $1.61 billion in 2019. For this being the case, some local furniture designers like Amadou Ba blame the government for not doing much in the area of youth empowerment.
The government bi mom wax deug neex la man gisuma dara luñ créer pour youth ci gisuma ben factory luma gis rek parti bu nekk ngi tawal sa parti bop espérer di ruling party.
To be candid enough, I have not seen any meaningful development by the government to help the youth of this country. They are not building factories. All we see is the formation of political parties. We worked day and night during the course of the COVID-19 pandemic. With all the stress, no one offered us assistance. And this is where we struggle to put food on the table for our families.
So with or without them, we're going to surely make it.
A publication of how we made it in Africa indicated that the West African country's manufacturing sector continues to be underexploited with limited concentration of interconnected manufacturing companies. The sector consists mainly of medium-sized enterprises located primarily in urban areas. The sector's share of the GDP continues to be low, forming the basis of increased government efforts to expand industrial production and development. Osman Jata, iAfrica News.
And from that very interesting report there by Usman Janta, next to North Africa we go. Now, Tunisian authorities have initiated a vaccination program targeting all artists as part of efforts to resuscitate the cultural sector. The vaccination drive is headed by the Cultural Affairs Ministry in partnership with different stakeholders with the view to widen the immunization campaign. The move has been welcomed by the actors who have waited for so long to resume their tourism sector. Let's have more details of that in this report.
26-year-old Hassan Mwakinyo is fast growing into a giant in the boxing world. His latest win was a fourth-round technical knockout against Namibian Julius Ndongo. Mwakinyo is now ranked 24th out of around 1,500 welterweight boxers in the world.
What I've learned is to respect my coaches and to study boxing every day of my life. I think it is the only path that has enabled me to fulfill what I promised to do today.
Over the last 6 years, Mwakinyo has fought 22 times, winning 20 bouts and losing 2. To help others reach his level of success, his own boxing promotion company organized his last fight.
It was, or should I say, it is challenging. But it's not a challenge that takes us backwards, it's a challenge for us to grow. Our biggest goal is to hold the hands of upcoming boxers, talented boxers who want to move forward but have no help.
In addition to his present title, Mwakinyo holds a Universal Boxing Organization welterweight title as well as a World Boxing Federation Intercontinental Super Welterweight title. He is the only African on a list of 50 of the world's top boxers in the weight category. No other Tanzanian boxer has achieved the accolades Hassan Mwakinyo has collected. Fight by fight and punch by punch, he hopes to cement his name in Africa's boxing history. Going into the match, Mwakinyo had improved 13 positions in the world's welterweight division rankings. Mwakinyo is now eyeing a world title and has set his sights on defending world boxing champion Jamal Charlo. He hopes that would bring joy to boxing fans in his country and around the world.
Well, we apologize for playing a wrong clip there. Of course, that is a Tanzanian young boxer who's making a name for himself in the boxing, in his boxing career. But of course, we'll come back to the Tunisia report later on before the end of this news edition. But for now, we'll take a break and come back shortly with the remainder of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
The locations, the design, the materials used, all the way down to the latest details, are few of many things that we focused on when we envisioned the airport residency. As proud innovators of community estates, the airport residency in Old Yundum, a project by Swami India International, offers unique gated community with 3 and 4 bedroom villas and duplexes. Just 5 minutes away from the Banjul International Airport. Luxury, convenience, and accessibility are some of the reasons you should consider this great housing opportunity. With a clubhouse, a playground, access roads, and parking facilities available for your dream home or a valuable investment, you will find all you need at Airport Residency here in Old Yundum.
Welcome back and many thanks for joining us. And now to the rest of the stories. Now, President Adama Barrow announced during the 2021 State of the Nation's address on Thursday that his government has maintained a consistent economic growth for the past 4 years. He explained some of the success on local economic mobilization and progress in debt deferral, which generates savings to open ways for investment in economic growth. Omar Ahmad Toure has more details of that in this report.
President Adama Barrow describes the Gambia's economy as progressive, a status his government maintained up to the period of the coronavirus pandemic.
Economic growth in the Gambia has been impressive since 2017, with real GDP averaging 6% up to 2019. In 2020, growth was projected at 6.5%, but the pandemic outbreak compelled a revised GDP estimate of minus 1.5%. Despite the economic challenges, domestic resource mobilization in 2020 amounted to an incredible performance of $13.4 billion. Of this, $11.8 billion was tax revenue and $1.8 billion non-tax revenue.
Gambia's macroeconomic management and donor grants inflows have helped to reduce the fiscal deficit and public debt in addition to relief support from development partners in the pandemic. Barrow informs deputies that the Gambia government is also participating in the debt service suspension initiative.
We have engaged most of our external creditors for debt deferral for at least 5 years. Most of them have granted us principal repayment deferral, which is estimated to yield $4.8 billion from 2020 to 2024. The savings made will be invested in the economy to create growth. The government also engaged the G20 Debt Service Suspension Initiative, DSSI. The DSSI provided relief of $287.24 million in debt service payments for the 2020 fiscal year.
According to IMF debt sustainability analysis, the Gambia's debt distress risk rating remains high, and debt sustainability is subjected to elevated downside risk in the next 5 years. With a potential lower growth due to slower international recovery and larger domestic impact of COVID-19, the country also faces weak financial position of some state-owned enterprises. Project grant and loan disbursement are assumed to be lower by $30 million and $18 million respectively, and this will give limited space for borrowing as the external debt service is expected to rise at the end of the debt deferral period in 2025. Reporting for iAfrica TV, this is Omar Ahmadu Toure.
President Barrow discussed on the state of the country's economy on his State of the Nation's address on Thursday at the National Assembly in Banjul. Now, let's return to our initial story in Tunisia. Now, Tunisian authorities have initiated a vaccination program targeting all artists as part of efforts to resuscitate the cultural sector. The vaccination drive is headed by the Cultural Affairs Ministry in partnership with different stakeholders with a view to widen the immunization campaign. The move has been welcomed by the actors who have waited for so long to resume into the tourism sector. Here's more details of that in this report.
Tunisian authorities have inoculated more than 10,000 artists since the launch of the vaccination drive targeting all professionals working in the cultural sector.
The vaccination drive is organized by the Cultural Affairs Ministry and the Health Department in partnership with several labor unions and associations. It targets all Tunisian artists and people who work directly or indirectly with the cultural fields. We've set up a database with tens of thousands of names and beneficiaries throughout Tunisia.
Thousands of sound and light specialists as well as technicians have received their first COVID-19 doses.
Some artists were reluctant to get vaccinated, but we've convinced them after a sensitization campaign. Tunisia will require a COVID-19 health pass at malls, theaters, and rehearsals at cultural centers and operas. We're resuming a nightlife and cultural activities thanks to the success of the vaccination drive. It's the only solution to save lives and to work.
After more than a year of absence and forced unemployment, many Tunisian singers and musicians have welcomed the much-awaited return to the artistic scene.
The kickoff of the summer festival season was too late. It affected all the professionals in the cultural field on the economic and social levels. The vaccination exercise facilitates the reopening of all cultural sites and gradual resumption of festivities in September.
The mass vaccination campaign targeting artists, singers, musicians, dancers and all show professionals continues throughout Tunisia. Meanwhile, thousands of restaurants, cafes, nightclubs and bars are reopening in the North African state. Tunisia's cultural venues are reopening, but artists are still suffering. Several civil society organizations and labor unions have urged the head of state to lift the current nighttime curfew in order to boost the economic activity and revive the arts scene in the country.
And from the report there in Tunisia, let's end this news bulletin with some inspiring sports news in Tanzania, where a 26-year-old Tanzanian boxer is making a name for himself in his boxing career following a remarkable technical win against Namibian Julius Mongo. The young Tanzanian boxer is using boxing to inspire young Tanzanians through his boxing promotion company. The celebrated East African youth is eyeing for bigger success on international stages. Here's more details of that in this report.
26-year-old Hassan Mwakinyo is fast growing into a giant in the boxing world. His latest win was a fourth-round technical knockout against Namibian Julius Ndongo. Mwakinyo is now ranked 24th out of around 1,500 welterweight boxers in the world.
What I've learned is to respect my coaches and to study boxing every day of my life. I think it is the only path that has enabled me to fulfill what I promised to do today.
Over the last 6 years, Mwakinyo has fought 22 times, winning 20 bouts and losing 2. To help others reach his level of success, his own boxing promotion company organized his last fight.
It was, or should I say, it is challenging, but it's not a challenge that takes us backwards, it's a challenge for us to grow. Our biggest goal is to hold the hands of upcoming boxers, talented boxers who want to move forward but have no help.
In addition to his present title, Mwakinyo holds a Universal Boxing Organization welterweight title as well as a World Boxing Federation Intercontinental Super Welterweight title. He is the only African on a list of 50 of the world's top boxers in the weight category.
No other Tanzanian boxer has achieved the accolades Hassan Mwakinyo has collected. Fight by fight and punch by punch, he hopes to cement his name in Africa's boxing history.
Going into the match, Mwakinyo had improved 13 positions in the world's welterweight division rankings. Mwakinyo is now eyeing a world title and has set his sights on defending world boxing champion Jamal Charlo. He hopes that would bring joy to boxing fans in his country and around the world.
A jubilant Tanzanian boxer there, of course, who has been inspiring young Tanzanian also through his remarkable boxing career to also join the sports. Well, that should be it for tonight, but also back at home we are also celebrating because Fortune FC has got the better of Insensitive of Algeria in the first leg of the CAF Club Champions League preliminary round qualifiers. Hopefully bring you more details of that in our subsequent news editions, but for now, many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Thanks for watching, stay safe and do have a pleasant night, and bye from us.
It is almost a year since the WHO, that's the World Health Organization, declared the COVID-19 as pandemic. And then that has not